Good evening. Let us be very quiet for a moment, because what we are about to touch cannot be heard in noise. You come here with the same weight all the world is carrying. Two iron doors swinging on the hinges of thought. The if only behind you, and the what if in front of you. Regret looks over its shoulder and drags chains. Anxiety peers ahead and sharpens knives. Between those doors, an individual thinks, I am a timeline. And so he ages by minutes and sorrows by years. Do you see that? It is not disease that hurts most. It is time. It is not scarcity that terrifies. It is tomorrow. Here is our mercy. Time has no law in God. Hear the sentence that does not argue. It cancels. Before Abraham was, I am. This is not a doctrine for a catechism. It is a revelation of identity that refuses chronology. Before Abraham, before genealogy, before biography, before the first day on your calendar, before the first wound in your memory, I am. Not I was, not I will be. I am. Do you feel the grammar? It will not move. It will not be pulled into yesterday to mourn. It will not be pushed into tomorrow to bargain. It stands. God is. Is. I am. If this I am is the fact of you, God appearing as individual being, tell me, where can regret live? In what room of the now can yesterday set up its furniture? Where can anxiety build a future tense in a present that has none? There is no future tense in truth. Do you see that? The moment I am is recognized, time's two prisons discover they have no warden, no walls, only painted shadows on the floor of thought. We are not gathering to make a better argument about life. We are not physicians for a past, nor architects for a future. We are not going to try to fix a human life stretched on the rack of dates and hours. Don't try to do something. Don't try to change something. Sit. Let us contemplate until the sense within clicks to the immovable isness, until consciousness stops measuring. This is not philosophy. It is the end of mental travel. When the presence is felt, the clock is dismissed. Time means nothing. 5 minutes or 5 years, what are they in I am? You will notice as we proceed that we will not be bargaining with effects. We will not coax a memory to be kinder or a forecast to be friendlier. We will yield. Yield to as and is. God as the very life you are. God as awareness, as being, as the one who says, I. In that yielding, you discover you have never been an exile from now. You find that torment requires a yesterday or a tomorrow to breathe, and the I am gives it neither. Do you see that? Let us be still, and let the sentence stand in us until our timeline quietly falls through it. Let us look plainly now at the two hands that keep pushing and pulling the mind off center. One is called if only, and the other is called what if. If only is regret. What if is anxiety. They are not noble counselors. They are stage magicians dressed as historians and prophets. Regret is the mind's insistence that a past moment has power to name you now, to hold a title deed to your identity. If only I hadn't said it. If only I had taken the other road. If only I had been wiser, kinder, richer. Do you see what is smuggled in with that? The assumption that yesterday can cross the threshold of the present and shape the I that is. Regret is not about what occurred. It is about a belief that what occurred is law. It is an effort to keep you baptized in a name that is already dissolved in I am. Anxiety is its twin. What if I lose? What if I fail? What if they leave? What if the future does not bless me? Here the mind argues that a future moment is the governor of safety, the treasurer of supply, the keeper of your breath. It makes you a hostage to tomorrow and then sells you a policy for protection. Oh, the mind is a fine salesman. It drafts forecasts, consults the weather, and calls that prudence. But trace the thread. It is not prudence. It is fear trying to legalize itself with calendars and clocks. It tries to keep you named by prediction. Do you see that? Both if only and what if are born from a single superstition: that time is real law and identity is the product of events. We imagined ourselves to be biographies animated by dates. We let certificates, anniversaries, and headlines tell us who and what we are. But the spirit is not a tenant of time. God is not waiting to be true, nor is God a relic of what was. There is no future tense in truth. The Lord is my shepherd, now. God is, now. Is. I am. You are not asked to manage time better. You are not given spiritualized techniques for handling your schedule or editing your past. You are asked to awaken to the fact that time is not the medium of spirit. When you feel the sting of regret, look underneath and ask, by what authority does that picture cross into the present? When fear rattles its chain of what if, inquire, who granted you jurisdiction over I am? Do you see that the pain is not what happened, nor what may happen, but the assumption that either has power now? The hypnotism is in consciousness. Nothing out there is waving a watch in front of your eyes. The watch is inside. The streetcar tracks that seem to meet on the horizon are not defective rails. It is a trick of sight. So it is with these twins. They converge only in the mind's false perspective. Correct the seeing, and they separate into nothingness. Do not fight regret. Do not bargain with anxiety. Stand still in as and is. God appearing as you is present being, not a traveler collecting stamps from yesterday and visas for tomorrow. Sit until the presence is felt, until that quiet inner click assures you that Emmanuel is here. In that instant, if only has no more past to draw from, and what if has no more future to threaten with. Identity, unprisoned, stands where it has always stood, nameless to history, fearless to prediction. God is, and therefore, I am. Do you see that? Now we come to the axiom without which the rest remains theory. There is no future tense in truth. Truth is. God is. Do you hear the simplicity, and with it the offense to all our habits? The mind that lives on postponement resists this. It says, someday I'll be free. Someday I'll be healed. Someday I'll have peace. But peace delayed is not peace. It is hope wearing holy clothes. Hope has a calendar. Truth has none. If God is, then harmony is not on order for tomorrow. Harmony is recognized now or not at all. Do you see that? Listen to your own prayers, and you will hear the verb betray the basis. When I get through this project, I'll be still. When I pay these bills, I'll trust. When my body improves, I'll give thanks. Oh, won't that be nice? Then you can go to the movies every night. But that is not prayer. That is bargaining with a future that does not exist. The prayer of truth does not lean forward. It stands. God is. Is. I am. The Lord is my shepherd, present, not promised. I shall not want is not the language of a bank account maturing. It is the recognition that want cannot appear where the shepherd is. He maketh me to lie down. He leadeth me. He restoreth my soul. Not he will if I am good enough. Not he used to when I was young. He does, because is the only tense in God. Do you see it? This is not positive thinking. Positive thinking takes a human picture and tries to cheer it up. It applies bright paint to a timeline. This is another basis of being altogether. Spirit is not becoming, spirit is. God is not moving from A to B. God is the I that is A through Z, without travel, without distance. When you sense that, even for a breath, the compulsion to reach forward loosens its grip. The flower does not plan to bloom next Thursday in God. It is the expression of life now. The sunbeam does not file a petition to arrive. It appears as sun now. Glass appears as tumbler now. God appears as you now. As and is. Do you see? What then is spiritual growth? Not a crawl along a path to a holier address. Not time reform. Growth is the thinning of the veil, the awakening from the belief in time as law, into the ever-present that has always been. You do not advance to God. You awaken as the presence of God. Each time the mind tries to mortgage harmony to tomorrow, you answer with is. You do not force is into your affairs. You consent to what already is. Sit until that consent becomes felt. Sit until the inside stops leaning. In that instant, tomorrow loses its job description. Emmanuel is here. And when Emmanuel is here, the schedule is dismissed. God is, and therefore, all that is of God is now. Do you see that? Now we must take the second step. As. If you leave here believing there is God somewhere and you somewhere else, you will carry two lives and two laws, and that is a heavy load. There is not God and man. There is God appearing as man. Do you see that? Not two, one. Not partnership, oneness. I and my Father is one. The grammarians will object, the Spirit will not. When oneness is seen, the whole pattern of time and its tyrannies loses its authority. Consider a piece of glass. Out of that substance, you may have a tumbler, a window pane, a vase. The forms differ. The substance does not. If you point at the tumbler and say, "There is a fine tumbler," and then try to strip away the glass to find tumbler by itself, what remains? Nothing to drink from, nothing to see. Form without substance is a word without reality. Substance without form is still itself, glass. But when it appears as a tumbler, you say tumbler, while all the time it is glass appearing as tumbler. Do you see the step? Here is God appearing as you. Remove the God and try to have you by yourself. You are left with a concept that must beg time and events to stay alive. But with God as substance, the form called you is the very presence of that life. Now, or take the sun and its beam. The beam does not strain to get sunlight. It is sunlight expressed. It does not carry a little private store of luminosity and hope the sun will mail more tomorrow. Its nature is the sun's nature, as appearing. The moment a cloud passes, the beam does not consult a calendar to see when radiance will resume. When the obstruction is gone, the fact appears as before. So with you. The beam is not a second power. You are not a second life. God is the life that says, I. And you are that life as individual appearing. Do you see that? Now bring this to the pain of identity. Regret whispers, I am what I did. Anxiety hisses, I am what might happen. Both rely on a separate self to be acted upon by time and events. But truth says, I am is what I am, God appearing as. If the substance is God, you cannot be named by a yesterday's image, nor held hostage by a tomorrow's forecast. A cracked picture frame does not alter the photograph. A calendar page does not edit the light. What you are is isness, and isness is not scheduled, not archived, not predicted. God is. Is. I am. Do you see why this matters to the heart? If you are God appearing as, then your worth, your safety, your supply, your peace are not outsourced to circumstances. You are not traveling toward what you already are. Abide in as and is. Don't try to change the form, recognize the substance. Sit until the inner click comes, and with it, the simplicity. I do not have God. God has me as his own appearing. Then regret and anxiety have no employment because they cannot indict or promise what oneness already is. Now let us be very clear, because here, most of the world misses the turn and spends a lifetime patching a costume that is not being worn in truth. Spiritual realization is not a sick man made well. It is not a guilty man made less guilty. It is not a fearful woman made moderately brave. It is not behavior polished up for Sunday. What happens when truth is realized is the appearing of the new creature. Do you see that? You haven't witnessed a repaired biography. You have witnessed Christ appearing where a human picture seemed to be. This is quite a different thing from convalescence in time. There is no future tense in truth. Why does regret cling so fiercely? Because it seeks rehabilitation of the old self across time. It wants God to approve a better edition of yesterday's character, to commute the sentence, to grant a little mercy to a name that insists on surviving. Regret prays to improve a reputation. But the Christ self is not an upgraded biography. It does not look back for raw material. The prophets spoke of being called by a new name, and many have tried to embroider their old garments with that name, as if a brighter thread would redeem the fabric. Oh, won't that be nice? Then we can keep the scrapbook and just add a halo. No, the new name is not a better reputation. It is a new identity. It is God as the I that you are, recognized. Before Abraham was, I am. Before ancestry, before story, before the first praise or the first blame, being is. Do you see the release there? Family narratives, personal narratives, national narratives, useful for history, useless for truth. The I that says I is not the descendant of yesterday. It is the presence of God now. When that is seen, the old account books close without collections. The Christ does not convalesce from yesterday. It appears when illusion yields. It does not need a ramp, a brace, or a timetable. It stands where it always stood, and the picture we called human becomes transparent to what is.
Take care here. If you try to make a better humanhood, you bind yourself to time, to effort, to disappointment. Don't try to do something. Don't try to change something. Yield to as and is. Sit until the inner click says, Emmanuel, God with us. In that felt presence, you cannot drag your docket of regrets across the threshold. There is no place to file them. The new creature has no past to fix and no future to guarantee. It is fulfillment as presence. God is, and therefore, I am. So your work is not fault inventory, but consent. Consent to be called by the new name. Consent to let yesterday fall like an old mask. Each time the mind argues for a better version of the old self, answer with is. Stand still until the appearing is witnessed. Never give up. Never give up. Time means nothing. When the veil thins, you will discover that nothing was repaired. Something was revealed. And in that revelation, regret loses its occupation, because the one it would prosecute is not here. God is. Is. I am. Do you see that? Let us place the spotlight where it belongs. There is no such thing as an externalized illusion. The illusion is within us, within thought, interpretation, memory, prediction. Do you see that? The world does not hypnotize you. The suggestion of a world as power arises inside as a way of seeing. The pictures on the screen are not at fault. The film in the projector is. When we say, the kingdom of God is within you, we must add, for clarity, that the kingdom's obstruction, this belief in time as law, also presents itself within. Not two powers, but two viewpoints, spirit's isness and sense-mind's timeline. The struggle is never in matter. It is in consciousness. Take a homely picture. You have seen streetcar tracks that appear to meet on the horizon. They do not meet, but from where you stand they promise a collision. If you were to send a committee to the horizon to file a complaint against the rails, what would they find? Perfectly parallel lines. The convergence was not out there. It lived in a way of seeing here. So it is with time. From the human standpoint, it seems to be law. Yesterday is after me. Tomorrow is in charge of me. But walk toward the horizon with the light of I am, and the meeting dissolves. Do you see that? The tyranny of time is a mirage in the optics of thought. What is the past? Not an entity roaming your room, not a bailiff with authority to seize your peace. It is an image with a charge, a picture bathed in feeling, kept current by rehearsal. What is the future? A storyboard, a projection on the mind's wall asking you to pay admission with fear. Both exist as pictures in consciousness only. The pain is not in the picture. It is in believing the picture is law. There is no future tense in truth. God is. Is. I am. Do not turn this into blame. We are not guilty for having fallen under hypnosis. We are responsible to awaken from it. There is therefore now no condemnation. The very fact that you can see the trick begins to end it.
Blame tries to punish the dreamer. Responsibility gently nudges him to wakefulness. Do you see that? We are not here to shame the eye. We are here to correct the sight.
And so the remedy is never in rearranging circumstances. Move the furniture on the stage if you like. Prefer a red curtain to a blue. Take the earlier train rather than the later. That has its place for civility. But do not expect the rearranged picture to grant you reality. Sit until you feel that presence. Be still and know that I am God. Stay until the inner click says Emmanuel. The instant presence is realized, the projector is infused with light, and the charged images lose their voltage. Regret dims. Anxiety quiets. The timeline loosens its teeth because the only law in this consciousness is God. Don't try to do something. Don't try to change something. Yield to as and is. As you abide, you will notice that the world's calendar continues for those who need it. The trains will still run. The shops will open on time. Oh, won't that be nice? But in you, the rails no longer meet. The clock no longer rules. Time's tyranny is seen where it always lived, in a way of seeing, and in the light of I am, it is not law. God is. Is, is, is. I am. Do you see that? Now hear the prohibition that unlocks the room. Don't try to fix anything. Don't try to do something. Don't try to change something. Remember as and is. Every impulse to repair, to improve, to adjust the picture as picture, assumes that the present lacks God and must import him from a better moment. That is how effort strengthens anxiety. It pushes you into a future tense to fetch what already is. Do you see that? You start with peace absent and go hunting. The very hunt testifies to absence and so multiplies fear. There is no future tense in truth, and the same effort tightens regret. How? It starts with a verdict. I am damaged. Then it labors to rehabilitate the guilty identity across time. But the identity you are trying to repair is the one illusion invented. You cannot sanctify a costume by sewing on sacred buttons. The more you stitch, the more you confess the costume is you. Do you see that? Effort keeps you in yesterday's courtroom asking for a reduced sentence when the judge has already left the bench. Before Abraham was, I am. The new creature cannot be repaired because it was never broken. The old cannot be made new because it was never true. So what do? We stop doing. We recognize. We yield. We listen. Instead of wrestling the mind into brighter thoughts, sit until presence is felt. Listen as if God were the only voice and you were not auditioning alternatives. Let the waters clear by not stirring them. The mud settles. The stream runs pure. You did not purify the river. You ceased troubling it. Do you see that? Recognition, not willpower. Yielding, not forcing. As and is. Trying to fix life in time keeps you in time. You pull on the rope of appearances, and appearances pull back. Drop the rope. What remains is isness, unopposed. God appearing as you does not travel. It shines. The sunbeam does not strategize a brighter beam. It simply is the sun as this ray. The glass does not become more glass by effort when appearing as a tumbler. It is glass. So you. The Lord is my shepherd. Now. God is. Is. I am. You say, but I must act. Yes, in the world, actions will be taken, forms will shift, bills will be paid, dishes will be washed. Oh, won't that be nice? But the action is born of stillness, not of panic. It issues from felt Emmanuel, not from a schedule of fear. First the click, then the step. First the is, then the expression. Do you see that the moment you stop struggling to become, you begin to be? And being, God as your very I, orders the step without time fear. Sit, listen, consent. Don't try to fix anything. Yield to as and is, and the door you were pushing opens inward of itself. Now we must come to the one thing without which these words remain ink. The inner click. Sit in meditation until you feel that presence. Not until you imagine it, until you feel it. There is a moment, as gentle as a latch falling in place, when the restless lean of the mind gives up its reach and rests in is. It is the end of inner time pressure. Do you see that? The hurry dissolves, not because you finished your list, but because presence, Emmanuel, God with us, is realized as the very I that sits. God is. I am. Let me tell you plainly what that click is not. It is not excitement. It is not a vision or a voice to flatter the ego. It is not self-hypnosis, no breathless affirmations to whip the mind into a mood. It is not your heart beating faster or a warm glow that comes and goes with the weather. The click is a settled sense, a quiet certainty of being, as if the room itself remembered who lives it. Be still and know that I am God. Not know about, not try to feel, know. In that knowing, the self you have been managing relaxes into the self that is. The pronoun melts. I as I am. Do you see that? How to sit? Very simply, for this is not a performance. Come to the chair. Place the feet on the floor. Let the hands rest. Let the breath soften, not manipulated, just noticed. Close the eyes if it helps. Now, without effort, let the mind be given a single bread. God is. A few breaths with that. God is. Then let the pronoun be claimed. I am. Do not repeat to persuade. Allow the words to be true without your help. When the mind trots off to yesterday with, if only, do not argue. Return to is. When it trots ahead to, what if, do not bargain. Return to, I am. Don't try to do something. Don't try to change something. Yield to as and is. Wait, not straining, not slouching, just present, consenting. Ah, but how long? The old clock will knock on the door. Smile at it and keep the seat. Time means nothing. 5 days, 5 years, or 20 years. Never give up. Never give up. There is no future tense in truth, and yet persistence belongs to love. You are not waiting for God to arrive. You are letting the eddies settle so the river may be seen. Each quiet sitting is consent, not currency. You are not buying a blessing with minutes. Do you see that? And then, often when you are least trying, the click. The inner lean stops. The breath is ordinary and perfect. Memory is still a picture, but the charge is gone. Prediction is still a sketch, but it cannot speak loudly.
You did not win an argument. A light went on. Regret and anxiety have no air where Emmanuel is consciously felt. The judge has left the bench. The case is closed without verdict because the defendant cannot be found. From here, if a step is to be taken, it will be taken without time fear, born of is, not of hurry. Sit until you feel that presence. Sit until the latch falls. If it takes 1 minute, rejoice. If it seems to take 20 years, rejoice. Time cannot measure God. God is. Is. I am. Do you see that? Never give up. Never give up. Now let us allow the practice to do its own work. No effort, no repairing, only recognition. Let the inner ear turn toward the simplest truth we know. God is. Say it without strain, as fact, not wish. God is. Again, not to convince, but to acknowledge. God is. Let it roll without commas until the mind cannot find a place to interrupt. God is. And now let the pronoun come home. I am. Not as a person's boast, but as God, as your very being, speaking its own name. I am. Rest there a breath. I am. Now, gently, allow a picture of the past to present itself. Do not send an invitation. One will come easily enough. Let it be whatever appears. A word you regret. A road not taken. A room where the light felt thin. Look at it the way you would look at a photograph you once loved. No fighting, no defense, no apology. Ask your own awareness. Where is it now? Do you see? Not in the room, not in the hands, not under the chair. It is in consciousness as an image, and only as an image. Without your belief, it has no breath, no law, no reach. Now, without argument, return to the fact. God is. Is. I am. Stay with I am until the picture thins of itself. Don't push. Yield to as and is. Do you see that? Again, let a picture of the future step forward. It will be dressed in forecasts, the bill, the illness, the goodbye, the hoped-for victory. Do not plan, do not brace. Just notice the sketch lines. It is pencil, not stone. Ask, where is it now? Here again the answer is the same, in consciousness, as a projection without substance. It asks you to trade peace for tickets to a show that never arrives. Decline the bargain. Come home. God is. God is. Is. I am. Feel the pronoun resting back into its source until the leaning stops. Do you see that? Now let identity be told the truth. Not I was, not I will be. I am. Before Abraham, before the story, before the mistake, before the fear. I am. Before applause and before blame. I am. Before diagnosis and beyond prognosis. Here is God appearing as you, not you trying to borrow God. Glass as tumbler, sun as beam, presence as your very I. Let the words be a doorway, not a performance. God is. I am. I and the Father is one. The grammarian may fuss, the spirit will smile. Do you feel the click of that? The self you were managing dissolves into the self that is. Emmanuel, God with us, felt, not imagined. Now test it gently. Hold the past picture at arm's length and ask again. Where is it now? It cannot enter the I am. Set the future sketch beside it and ask, where is it now? It cannot cross the threshold of is. In the presence of I am, regret has no residence and anxiety has no calendar. The clock on the wall may still tick for those who need it. Oh, won't that be nice? But in you, time has lost its badge. Sit one breath more in silent knowing. God is. Is. I am. Do you see that? Stay with it. Never give up. Never give up. Now someone will say, if I live in now, won't I become careless? Who will pay the bills, keep the appointment, raise the children? Hear this. Living in now is not neglect. It is obedience without hypnosis. The clock on the wall will still tick. The train will still depart at 8. Oh, won't that be nice? But you will not live under their badge. You will meet each duty as presence meeting itself, not as a frightened person racing a calendar. Do you see that? Planning has its place. Worship does not. Write the date in the book. Draft the proposal. Set the alarm. But do not move into the plan and try to live there. Visit it as you would consult a map. Then come home to is. You take a step because wisdom presents it, not because fear drives it. You consider outcomes, but you do not bow to them. Outcomes are pictures. Peace is isness. There is no future tense in truth. God is. Is. I am. Act from that, and you will discover that what appears as order and timeliness is the expression of presence, not the product of anxiety. Do you see? Let us make it simple and daily. Build small anchors into the hours. When the phone rings and the stomach tightens, pause one breath and acknowledge, "The Lord is my shepherd." Then answer. When the calendar pings and the mind begins to sprint, lay the finger lightly on the bell of the heart and say, God is. I am. Then open the meeting. Before you write the difficult email, stop and feel for the click, even if it is only a quiet settling. I and the Father is one. Then send. These are not charms, they are doors. They return you to as and is before the tongue moves or the hand signs. Do you see that? Responsibility includes amends. If a bill is owed, pay it. If a word wounded, apologize. If a duty was neglected, shoulder it now. But do not drag the identity of a condemned self across the years as if penitence could purchase God. There is therefore now no condemnation. You make the amends as an honest housekeeping of appearances, and then you leave the courtroom empty, because the new creature has no past. The Lord is my shepherd, now. Not he will be when I have suffered enough. He is. Do you see the relief? The world gets its check, its cleaned room, its timely arrival. You keep your being unburdened by yesterday's name. Check this in your own experience. The same action, paying, writing, speaking, done from anxiety is bondage. Done from isness is freedom. One tightens the breath and mortgages peace to a result. The other breathes God and lets the result be God's. Don't try to do something. Don't try to change something. Yield to as and is, and then do the next simple thing. Never give up. Never give up. Time means nothing. Abide and let wisdom order your steps without a whip. God is. Is. I am. Do you see that? There will be days when the click sits in your lap before you even find the chair. And there will be days when the mind is a market at noon. Voices, bargains, memories, forecasts, all shouting at once. Do you see that this is precisely where students separate from crowds? The crowd loves the bright moment and leaves when the weather changes. The student abides because God is not weather. The presence is not moody. Moods belong to sense mind. Isness is steady. So when the sky of thought turns gray, do not call it a sign. Call it a climate passing through a window that does not move. Never give up. Never give up. Time will try to bargain with you. It will say, "You have sat 3 weeks with no result." Or, "After 5 years, shouldn't you be further along?" Answer with the only language time cannot understand. God is. Is. I am. Do not measure ripening by the clock. The fig becomes sweet because of sun, not schedule. Time means nothing. 5 days, 5 years, 20 years. Love keeps its seat. Do you see that? Stop taking your spiritual temperature. Stop negotiating with the calendar. Sit, consent, and let the veil thin when it will, because it must. Illusion cannot stand where light is welcomed. Now, practical counsel for the hours that mutter. When the mind argues, do not debate. Debate feeds the courtroom that has already closed. When the thought says, "if only," or "what if," you do not become its attorney. You return to the simplest fact. God is. The Lord is my shepherd. I am. Not louder, truer. One breath, one word, one willingness. Don't try to do something. Don't try to change something. Remember as and is. Let the river clear itself because you stopped stirring it. Do you see that? You may still wash the dishes, answer the emails, walk the dog. Oh, you may even go to the movies every night. Won't that be nice? But do not use the theater, the kitchen, or the inbox as a tunnel to escape practice. Bring the practice there. Before the first dish, God is. Before the first line of the email, I am. Before the previews roll, feel for the click, if only for a breath. Ordinary acts become altars when presence is first. Understand this so it cannot be shaken. Perseverance is not earning grace. You are not paying God by the minute. You are staying available, still enough for what already is to be recognized. The fog does not deserve the sun. It yields to it. The veil does not win a prize. It thins in light. Our quiet discipline is love refusing to leave its post. And when it yields, as it will, you will discover nothing was added, something unreal was gone. Peace was present, or it was not peace. So abide, never give up. Never give up. Time means nothing. God is. Is. I am. Do you see that? Let the line be plain so the heart cannot lose it. Regret and anxiety are twins. Each whispers a different story, but both depend upon time for their breath. And time itself depends upon belief, upon a way of seeing that treats a calendar as a law and a clock as a judge. When belief dissolves in realized presence, the twins have no heir. There is no future tense in truth. God is. Is. I am. Do you see that? Return again to the sentence that unseats the whole timeline. Before Abraham was, I am. Before ancestry, before biography, before the first success or the first failure, I am. Identity is prior to story and remains when story fades. The names on the pages can yellow. The I that says I does not age. I and the Father is one. The grammarians will fuss. The Spirit will not. Not God and you, God appearing as you. When that is recognized, the past cannot prosecute and the future cannot recruit. The courtroom is empty because the defendant cannot be found. Do you see that? Now take this as a simple rule for a simple day. Several times, no schedule, only sincerity. Stop. One breath. Whisper if you must, but better still let it resound without lips. God is. Do not push. Acknowledge. God is. Is. Then claim the pronoun as its own truth, not as your boast. I am. Wait for the settling, not a fireworks show, just the small inner release that says the chair is holding you and being is holding the chair. 10 seconds is holy if it is honest. 2 minutes is holy if it is simple. Do not count. That would be time again. Let the shoulders drop, the jaw unhook, the mind cease rehearsing and predicting. God is. I am. As and is. Do you see that? Test it. Not next week. Now. The instant if only tries to drag you backward, or what if tries to fling you forward. Do not argue in their courtroom. Turn your head inward to presence. God is. I am. Stay until the tug weakens, until the picture is seen as picture. You can do this in the grocery line, in traffic, in the hospital corridor. Oh, the red light will still be red, won't that be nice? But the inner fist will have opened. Evidence will not be a mood. It will be the quiet fact that peace was present or it was not peace. Do you see that? So we close where we began, only simpler. God is. Is. I am. Regret cannot live here, because here has no yesterday. Anxiety cannot live here, because here has no tomorrow. Time's throne is built in belief. Belief bows before presence. Sit, breathe, remember as and is, and let the latch fall. Never give up. Never give up. Time means nothing. God is. Is. I am. Do you see that nothing needs to be fixed in time when truth is recognized now?